So if our goal is to understand these ancient texts, which are the ancient texts that we need to start with? The primary one that I have used to start with is one called Bṛhat, Parāśara, Horā, Shastra, which presently is translated into 2 volumes. If you try and pick this up and read it, some people can read it and how much they understand is often very minimal, without some help. Our goal is to fully understand everything in here. And the amount of information in here is amazing. Sometimes 1 or 2 verses you could write an entire book in English on. Just interpreting what the verse says and actually utilizing that concept taught in the verse. So Parāśara, who wrote these texts, who spoke and taught these texts, was a very wise sage who was one of the Rig Veda seers who heard the Vedas. Bṛhat means large. Parāśara is the author. Horā Shastra means, Horā means astrology. Shastra means a science text. So it's Parāśara's large text on astrology is what this Bṛhat Parāśara Horā Shastra is. We're going to try and understand that, to crack into that, to learn astrology through that, utilizing this book. Who is Parāśara? Parāśara, he was the grandson of a rishi, a sage named Vasishta. And Vasishta is considered one of the highest Rigvedic rishis. Parāśara was also a Rigvedic rishi, but he is considered one of the most famous and acknowledged astrologers in ancient India. There is another text called the Jaimini Upadesha Sutras. Jaimini was a student of Parāśara, who traveled with Parāśara. Parāśara also had a son whose name was Vyasa. Once Parāśara passed on, Jaimini also became a student of Parāśara's son, Vyasa. Vyasa was one of the highest geniuses of Indian history, who had a photographic memory. He heard something once and he was able to repeat it exactly. Some people, some teachings teach that the Jaimini Upadesha Sutras is a different type of astrology than what Parāśara teaches. On close study of the texts, we see that they're about 60% the same in actual information. Then Jaimini has things that Parāśara doesn't mention, as well as Parāśara having things that Jaimini doesn't mention. But Jaimini Upadesha Sutras, Upadesha means secondary teaching. Upadesha means what I've heard from my guru, or commentary on that. So Jaimini is not even claiming to have a primary authoritative text. He is saying that his text is secondary. Secondary to what? Secondary to Bṛhat Parāśara Horā Shastra. So by understanding Parāśara, then Jaimini actually begins to make sense, because Jaimini's commenting on Parāśara. So the tradition that I come from, that I teach from, does not differentiate between those two. We consider them one holistic way of practicing astrology. Now the thing is, even though there's certain things in both of those texts, in North India we find people who are only practicing certain techniques. And because they're only practicing certain techniques, they call it Parāśari astrology. And all the other techniques are Jaimini astrology. We don't separate the two. Parāśara has everything that is fundamental in Jaimini, Upadesha Sutras. Thereby it is all the teachings of Parāśara. And what Parāśara is giving us is a holistic way to practice astrology. A way that when it comes into a lot of modern astrological books, they don't have the complete holistic nature that Parāśara is teaching us. So we're going to learn Parāśara in a way that keeps his similar order and his similar teachings, to fully understand his style, his teaching of astrology. All later books are based on his teachings, or based on his form of teaching. When you understand this text, all other ancient texts are easily making sense. That's why we're starting with this text, which is a fundamental root.